What's up, guys? Today we're back with another Creative Talk podcast, and I have another guest for you. Someone you might know. He's a tattoo artist, a graffiti artist, and overall, he's just a super creative person. And I think he was going to be perfect for this podcast because this is basically all about inspiring young entrepreneurs or creatives to chase their own lane. So without further ado, Menso, how are you?
What's up? What's up? Thank you for having me, man. Great to be here today. It's amazing what you're doing. I'd love to see, talent evolve over time. And yes, we have known each other for a while, so I've seen where you started and where you've come today. And I want to say I'm proud of you. And
thank you, bro.
Being a little older, I always look into the young guns coming up to keep me going and keep me up on my feet. So that's why I agreed to come out today and build with you. And I think it's important to document and to tell stories to inspire people that are going through my same path and my same journey. So yeah, this is real special for me. It is my birthday month, so it's time to level up and do something that's powerful and that's going to be pretty much a little piece of my book and to tell my story and leave a legacy.
Fuck yeah, dude. And thank you for coming out here and taking it serious. I've asked a couple other people that I was like, oh, they're for sure gonna say yes, and they're like, nah, whatever. But then when they see the podcast with you, I get to 10K, they're gonna be like, hey, you still got another spot?
Yeah.
So tell the people a little bit more about exactly what you do.
So yeah, first and foremost, I gotta thank God because of my talent. That's who put it in these hands, and my creativity. It's just something that I'm really, really blessed to have. A lot of people are born an artist, and it's all about maintaining and keeping them one throughout life. So, I definitely always want to encourage anyone who has any kind of, magic to bring that out and then bring that to the surface, to bring out the best in them and to utilize that and later on in life, whether it's sports or a business they want to start or even whatever it is that you love and you're passionate about. I always want to make sure that people find that within them and bring it to the surface, because it gets lost along the way with the way that society and schools and
100. I feel like it's not even talked about. Like the thing I do as a filmmaker, like it was never taught to me as an option until I met Riley. Actually, he taught me what it could be to be a photographer, videographer, and young, and just like doing it different. Because the people I used to know was like an old guy taking like family photos or something.
Right.
Not very cool.
Yeah. It's all it takes is that one person to go ahead and boom, shoot you in a different direction. Thank God for Riley crossing your path like that, because, I think everyone in life should have that one individual. I know I could probably name a few that took me to the next level of giving that thing that you're desiring the chance, because the risk is something that you definitely have to put into play if you're wanting to explore and pretty much have like a rebirth at one point. Say you've been working a job and it's almost 10 years and it's just for the say the DMV, and you're just filing paperwork and you're just not passionate about it. You're struggling to get up and be there for 8 hours a day. But in the back of your mind, during your break, you're doodling in your book and you're drawing cartoons, and you remember drawing when you were a youngster in school, and you never really thought, hey, that could be my life, career path. And then, maybe it's 9 years are going by, your dead-end job, and you're like, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and quit this job and I'm going to pursue tattooing now because and I'm not to take a risk. I'm probably going to have to eat top ramen for a couple months. If you stick to it and you quit the job and you start drawing, you start tattooing, next thing you know, a year later, you're owning your own shop, you're making, 100,000 a year. And, you're just going to pretty much pat yourself in the back and be like, I'm glad I made that choice and that sacrifice, And that's been my whole entire life. I've always stuck to it. I've always been determined. I've always been passionate. I always didn't know the outcome of what I was going to be doing, but I knew if I stayed consistent, persistent, and made sure that I, broke down barriers when everyone was telling me no, that eventually it would automatically be a well-oiled machine that was already going. And now that the culture is growing and growing, and these things that I'm into, and my creativity is, pretty much ready to roll. I've had some credibility behind what I've gotten into. I didn't just go on YouTube and learn overnight. I'm someone that I could say, hey, you know what, I've been doing this for a decade now, and anything anyone's done for 10 years should be pretty much professional at it. So I'm glad that I stuck to it during those hard times when, you know, all the odds were against me. You know, and that's what you really, really got to just strive for. You're going to get knocked down, you're going to get knocked down, but believe me, anything you do, for anyone that's out there, just keep to it. I promise you that you're going to look back and laugh one day, and, you know, definitely be proud of what you could accomplish if you put your mind to it. You know, mind is a very powerful thing. So,
Oh my God, it's one of the most powerful things. It's an underrated superpower in my opinion.
Yeah, and absolutely. And words are magic. Words are spells. So whatever you say, whatever you think, it can become a reality, and you can manifest it. You know, so you definitely are going to be hard on yourself through these journeys, and you know, your mind is going to be working against you, and you're going to be telling yourself, you know, you're not good enough. But if you start waking up in the morning and you start telling yourself, hey, today is going to be a good day, something great is going to happen to me, watch and see what is going to be developing. And yeah, you're going to be very inspired to know that things are going to be special coming into your life because of the energy that you're putting out there. My story is definitely, hey, go ahead.
No, I was gonna tie back into that family thing, and it's not always easy to believe in yourself, especially when the people who you know raised you and gave birth to you aren't necessarily on board. Not that they're hating on it, but it's just like you can tell they're not as hyped as when you were playing football or something, or doing something that lined up with their vision for you. You know, it's hard for them to realize that this completely different world we're living in. So how did your parents feel about what you were doing, pursuing, you know, graffiti art and becoming a tattoo artist?
Yeah, absolutely. I love to, you know, talk about that. I'm a huge family man. You know, I have a huge heart. You know, I'm really deep into having that perfect family, you know, that American dream of your mom and your dad and your grandparents and everyone loving you and pretty much putting you on their shoulders like you won that championship game, right? And, you know, a lot of us, I think we struggle coming up as a youth, and also maybe aren't the smartest, and maybe we're having trouble learning things, and, you know, we're getting this pressure from our parents and our loved ones to be the best that we could ever be. They want to see us be that rising star in some kind of career. You know, it might be a lawyer, it might be a doctor, a police officer, someone that's a part of this society and contributing to it and can make a great living, right? And yeah, that pressure is really hard, especially when it comes within your circle. You know, it could really take a toll on you, but you got to definitely try to use that to your fuel and to light that fire within you, to prove them wrong in the long run and from the part of that journey that you're on, because that's exactly what happened to me. You know, I was into sports when I was young. I was the #1 player. I was a pitcher for the team. I was throwing strikeouts. You know, I was going to the Major League Baseball for sure and become a professional baseball player, right? But there was this part of my life where my parents got divorced and separated, and my dad got custody of us and brought us to Temecula. We used to live in Escondido. So it was like from urban to suburban, right? Right. And yeah, so during that transition is when stuff in life was a little bit more harder on me. So that's why I started to lean towards more of the art side of things. And I knew choosing the art would definitely have a lot of my family against me during this time, because it wasn't what they wanted to see my dreams become. You know, you got to remember, you got to do what you want to do for what your dreams are for, you know. And I think if you're your biggest fan and you can give yourself that high five and that pat in the back and that push to, you know, become successful in what you want to do, I think you have the ability to do that, you know. And you might lose some of your closest friends, your family members, your brothers, your sisters. They might step to the side because they don't agree with your choice and your path and your you know, what you want to do, because they feel like it reflects their life. You know what I mean? No one wants to look at them and be like, oh yeah, that's that loser brother. He's trying to do this and that, and you know, it's a sad story, and you just got to make sure to separate yourself from that, because what you want to do is accomplish something that you're going to be happy doing at the end of the day, because life is really, really short. life is very stressful, and a way to get rid of anxiety and things of that nature is to be creative and be productive and have something for you to do, a task for you to do, something to accomplish. You know, I've just heard a story on the way over here of a gentleman who became a professional football player, but his love wasn't into it. He did not have the passion for it. He did not put all of his, you know, marbles in that bowl. He, on the back of his mind, he always knew he was an artist, and that's what his real dream was. And, you know, he quit football and he moved to Los Angeles to pursue an animation career, an illustration career, and his whole family was broke. And, you know, he told his family, we're not leaving this place until my dream is fulfilled. And now he's one of the biggest artists in the world.
Dude, that is beautiful.
Yeah.
That is honestly beautiful.
Yeah, and he loves it and he's passionate about it, and this is true love. And that's the best feeling, no matter what space you have, you know, whatever, you wake up and you have your tea and your coffee, and you could look out that window and you could be in that space of bliss. Like, that's my ultimate goal. And I can want to honestly say that that's where I reached today. You know what I mean? After doing this for 2 decades.
How have you been able to, what do you think the biggest lesson you've learned that other upcoming creatives and entrepreneurs need to understand when it comes to doing this forever and doing it long term? Because like, I've been ready to throw in the towel multiple times, and I couldn't confidently say that I'm still here because I just believed in myself all the time. Sometimes it was just, this is my best option. You know what I mean? And I didn't like that feeling because it's like, I love what I do, but right now it's like my only hope, but it doesn't seem realistic. So what's something that you can say to kind of have them get out of their head and just focus on the bigger picture and trust the process?
Right. Yeah. I mean, exactly. Trusting the process. You know, you got to definitely have some trust in there, because if you're not determined and you don't have your eye on the prize, you are definitely going to lose it. You have to remember that in your choice of whatever creative ideas you have, that the more you produce over time is going to become a body of work, and that's going to be something to be proud of. Because if you think about it, we have nothing here, and you can give me a piece of paper and I could draw on it, and then now I've actually produced something, so I can put it right here. If you're not doing anything, you're going to have an empty space. So you definitely got to make sure to have that fulfillment of knowing that you could look at a body of work. You know what I mean? You could build a portfolio over time. You got to also know that in anything that you do, whether you're good at it or not, because you might not be the best at something also, but if you are a very nice person and you have a great attitude and you have a great character, that's going to get you farther in life than if you were the best at what you're doing and you were the most like
biggest asshole ever,
and no one's ever going to want to mess with you ever, which is going to definitely be something you're more proud of in life if you're just pretty much a genuine good person in general, you know, no matter what you're doing. And those times that when it gets tough, it's okay to feel that, you know what I mean? Because that's what's going to actually break down those barriers of you know, the self-doubt. And when you feel that, just automatically start creating, you know? Don't worry about getting paid for the job. Just do something. Go outside and just film some flowers in the sky if you want to.
That's how I know you're a real artist, because
that's gonna like solve the anxiety problem and like the mental, like, you know. So if you just pretty much say you don't have a job that week or that month and you got to pay bills, just go out there, find anything, go to the skate park, film a little clips and throw it up online. Watch and see how that resonates with somebody else, and they might call you up like, hey bro, what's up? I have $300. You might come in and show me my BMX friend. He's in town for the weekend, and then boom, that gets you a job. And it just trickles. It's like, you know, it's a snowball effect. I think I've found that just being a really nice person to all my clients, when, you know, I'm having these interactions and I'm bonding with them and I'm having this relationship build, I think that's what really, really important, and it definitely has set like my foundation
for your long-term success.
For long-term success, you know, and know that it's okay to do other things. You know, you don't want to get burned out on what you're focusing on. You know, make sure you throw little things in there. Maybe shooting some hoops, or maybe it's drawing to do tattoos. You know, try to find something. Maybe it's reading a book. just, all those things are going to help you mold and sharpen, your skills for the main thing that you want to pursue. And I think that, if you are young and you're trying to look at what you're doing and becoming a business, you definitely want to start out from the ground root of the professionalism to it. You might have to Google it or use a ChatGPT or something to figure out, like, how can I establish my business? I think you're gonna definitely feel it when you wake up that morning and you've set like a goal for all week long. You're gonna start register your name as a business, maybe start an LLC, maybe open up the bank account that goes with the LLC. Those things right there alone, even if you're not good at what you're doing, you're gonna feel also, I keep using the word powerful. It's gonna feel powerful because you're gonna be like, I'm gonna establish business now, and everything that I do is gonna go through this entity, and I know that it's gonna, eventually help me out in the long run, because if people wanna, hire me for a job, I could show them and prove to them that, hey, you know what, I'm taking this serious, and that will also keep you going, because you want those numbers to grow in your business. You want them, you want to have that bank account stacked. You definitely will see that it's kind of fun. You want to look at it almost like a game. You know what I mean? You got these things that you want to lay out, and if you play games, you want to win. So if you look at it like that, you'll have more fun doing what you're pursuing.
Not taking every single day so serious. Like,
yeah,
that's
exactly.
one thing I realized too. Like, there's things that you can do to get the needle to move forward, but there's only so much you can do in a day. Rome was not built overnight.
Right.
And I feel myself get stressed out when I try to force that.
Yeah, something that helps with that is, like, I really enjoy writing. I love writing on paper. I love the feeling of it. Just write down everything that you want to do, just because it's pretty much going to be unloading it off of your mind, even if you can't get it done, if it's clean the closet, or like, hey, film this clip, or make this dinner, or do this trip, things that you might not even ever get done even, as long as you put them down on paper and you visually see it, it gets it off of your chest, and it'll take that pressure off and that weight on your shoulders of, like, oh man, at least it's on here. And
it's that kind of like consistently staying in motion. That's why I feel like it's very underrated, but exactly what you were saying, like, keep on creating. The day you stop making reels, it's going to be harder and harder to make that next one. But if you're banging out like 20 to 30, like, you're not tripping on that one anymore.
Right.
Like, I would only get like 1 or 2 done a month. Now I'm doing like 30, 50.
Exactly. Yeah, like I said, the mind is going to be playing tricks on you. It's going to be working against you. So if you're not creating, it's going to point right back at you, and it's going to eat you up.
Let's talk a little bit more about why and how you got into your main thing, which is graffiti, right? Or would you say more so tattooing?
No, yeah. So it all started, my dad was an artist. And that was his God-given talent. I specifically remember him drawing with the pencil portraits of me as a baby. And, I remember finding this pile, and it was like, he drew cartoons. Like, he looked like he was a Disney animation artist. That's how great he drew. So when I saw that, I knew that I wanted to pursue that, because I started drawing and tracing all of his drawings while I was in pretty much kindergarten. And then it got to middle school, and that's when I was like hanging out more with the troublemakers, and gangsters, and Southern California lifestyle kind of people, like skateboarding, surfers, and everyone had this kind of like artwork that was like keeping all the cultures together. And because it was like skateboards were drawings, people were drawing on everything, and they had, a cool look to it. Everyone's backpack had something on it, or the BMX bike had a drawing on it. And so I knew I was just drawing in class all the time. And so when I got a little bit older, I fell in love with graffiti art, since it came kind of from like the gang dialect, but then I ended up enjoying hip hop, which had 4 elements. It was graffiti, DJing, MCing, and breakdancing, and it kind of came from New York. And at that time, that's what my biggest love was, to be like one of the greats. And there was these guys that were just blowing my mind with how much color and how intricate these beautiful murals that they were creating on the subway trains. So I wanted to bring that to California, as it was like this culture that was blowing up at the time. So that's when I just was dedicating my life to strictly graffiti art. I liked the rebelliousness that it had back then. and like the vandalism was kind of a rush, you know.
Yes.
And we're like vandalizing like a white picket fence or a church. We were trying to find areas that it kind of looked like it lived, stuff that was abandoned, trains that no one cared about, you know, freeways, to get our name out there. And that was the main thing, is that as youngsters, you know, we wanted to make a name for ourselves, because we wanted to build this identity that, you know, we didn't have at the time. And once again, it just felt powerful to know that, hey, everyone's knowing who this guy is, and it's kind of mysterious, has a mystique, you know. These guys are out at night, they're kind of like ninjas. Like, I wanted to be someone that was, you know, behind the scenes creating that stuff and making people think and, you know, open up their mind to, hey, what is that? You know, we would just pretty much have to stop and look over, and maybe they got inspired to like do something like that. And so, yeah, I did graffiti art from when I was in my elementary school all the way till high school. You know, I was supposed to be, like I said earlier, sports, you know. I wanted to play soccer, I wanted to play baseball, but yeah, art definitely won every single time. And I stuck to it. You know, during those times, it was literally, we were starving artists. And to pursue that was definitely like not something that, you know, your teachers or your parents wanted you to pursue, because it was looked down upon, as it wasn't a career path and career choice at the time. And so sticking to it, I naturally ended up crossing paths with business owners who needed artwork on the side of their business to promote it. And they found out, and they heard about my work through just word of mouth. And they had me come down, and I got my first paying job. I think the guy gave us like $300 to paint the side of his like lawnmower shop, you know. Literally, it's just a big sign that said lawnmower shop, and we painted some lawnmowers. And next thing you know, this guy's business is making a lot more money now, because the you know, people are passing by and they see that it's a really cool, you know,
so different.
It's an advertisement for them, and then that it just trickled, the snowball effect again. Yeah, the next business called, the restaurant called. So that's how we started getting my paying jobs for it. And when me and my friend looked at each other like, wow, we could make a living during this, you know. But during those times, it was really hard. Like I said, it wasn't like something that everyone was sought after. So there was pretty much a time where it was from 18 to 25 that I was a starving artist, you know, making $300 a month pretty much.
Yeah.
Which really wasn't a decent living. So
Not even back.
what occurred to me was after couch surfing and traveling all up and down the California coast and trying to make a name for myself in the graffiti world, it came to a halt, because I just finally got burnt out from crashing on my friend's couch and being a mooch and, like, you know, living off of a couple dollars. And I had this really amazing opportunity that was one of the biggest blessings in my life, and that was when I met my tattoo family. For tattooing, it's one of the biggest blessings of my life. It changed my life completely. It showed me stability, it showed me structure, it showed me respect, it showed me everything that I need to do to lead me up to be a young entrepreneur. You know, it's like you're your own small business within a business, and it had me, you know, now working with people every single day. Tattooing is like therapy, you know. You get to share so many stories with these clients, and you have these bonds with them, and anything that they're getting, it could be for life, it could be for death. It's just a really, really amazing thing to be a part of. And I definitely will tip my hat off to the tattoo industry for allowing me to be a part of it in such a special way. And, you know, over the 10-year span that I was at that shop and I grew, I ended up having the opportunity to move to Los Angeles, to the Hollywood area, and opened up my own private studio, where I ended up having a lot of celebrity clientele and professionals and a lot of sports athletes. And it was a dream job, and I'm really proud of that, and creating that path for myself.
One thing I'm excited to talk about and hear your perspective on it. So there's the artist world, and then there's the business world. And most people who get into filmmaking, tattoo, like, they're not really concerned about the business. How have you been able to successfully run a full-time career, all while maintaining that artist flow and staying connected and being excited about what you do and not letting the money get in your head too much.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think that utilizing the social media platform as like your biggest billboard and portfolio in a smart way, and where people could connect to you and people could come in and get a glimpse of your life and your reality. It could, how you post your food, your dog, and your trip, your girl. You're able to have people connect and feel, like they're actually could relate to you, So
Yeah.
that's really, really important. And like I said earlier, you kind of have to look at the business side of it like a game. If you play games, you want to win that game. So if you could set up some kind of structure to, build on that, I think that's really going to help you out. But at the end of the day, you need help, and a lot of us are stubborn, and we're not going to or maybe feel like we don't want to spend the money on that or invest into it. But if you could do any little bit where you could bring in someone outside source, like I should hire you to come film my content instead of me trying to do it all too. Because in reality, you do need a team. You need people around you that are going to help you, pretty much
Build and scale.
build and scale up and, pat each other's back. If you film for me, then I could do this for you and design you a logo. Like,
Dude, trading services is the best. That's how I got all this tattoo work.
yeah, that's how I live by. I live by the barter system. That's how, it's been going on for over 100 years now, and that's how like America was built on. And it's going to be really, really hard, and it's just all about learning. Try to seek it however you can. Through books, through podcasts. You're not going to know it all. We're always going to continuously learning. It's never going to stop. And if you could somehow. And if you're not business savvy and you don't have that hustler mentality, it is going to be really, really hard to find that gold and find that diamond within you. So, yeah, don't be afraid to just seek help, ask questions, sit down, have a conversation with someone who is in the business, or keep an eye on how they're doing it, because that's how you're honestly going to learn. You're not going to be able to create it yourself, I just always go back to, when I was a kid. Boys and girls, we're always playing house, right? And we're trying to we already know like the formula to something, like, oh yeah, this goes here, this goes there. And if you could just apply that to what you're doing now, it's going to help you just, evolve over time, and you're only going to grow and you're only going to get smarter. And, that's the best advice I can give, is just, don't be afraid to reach out to the next person that could help you, even if it's just that little tiny bit. Always stay learning, because if not, you're going to get stuck, you're going to get frustrated, and you're going to lose like the love for whatever you're trying to do. And then, after you spend so much time on it, and that's not something you want to do, is quit, so definitely stick to it, even if there's like a year where you don't feel yourself. After that year, you'll have some breakthroughs, and you'll have to look at all the blessings that you had in disguise, the stuff that you were able to accomplish during that time. So if you want to
Have you had some years where like, dude, it's like really hard for work, I can't get out of my head? Like, have you had some years like that?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's what I'm kind of trying to say right now, is that's what's happened to me in the last 12 to 13 months. Is I've had like a standstill. I haven't been on social media as much.
Why do you think that is? What happened?
I closed my private studio. It's allowing growth. It's allowing growth, because once you stay stagnant and you're doing something for so long and you're in this routine, it's not going to let you get those little tiny, wins that you want to get in life. Like, for instance, say if I was working for 10 years, then where's those 10 years that I was able to go have like, lunch with my dad, or like, see that sister that I don't even know her kids' names, you know what I mean? And now you're able to like go back and like, build on that, which is your family tree, and spend a little bit of time doing that. And that's what brings me to my most beautiful blessing in the entire world. My girl Gabby, she was able to give me a beautiful daughter. She's like an angel sent from heaven. And I feel like I've been working hard my whole entire life to be able to be part of hers, and be able to be present, and have this amazing feeling of a new purpose, and to be able to know that I have a legacy that, you know, when I leave this earth, and that's my daughter. And now everything that I've worked up to this moment in time is all for her, and I'm going to build that generational wealth for her, and she's going to level me up. All my dreams that I've always wanted, I'm going to write them down again, and I'm going to make sure that those all get accomplished, because it's not just about me anymore. And you know, my whole life I kind of been deprived of being a father, because some of my previous relationships didn't allow that to come to fruition. But yeah, you know, right now I'm the happiest I've ever been. You know, you could see people, I have a glow on me. I'm smiling a lot more, you know, because I have this beautiful girl, you know, Zayla, to give me that special, you know, bond. And you know, and that's through God, and I give it all up to him for yeah, being able to tell my story.
Did you ever think you'd become a family man, like when you were my age, 24?
You know what? Definitely not. You know, coming from divorced parents, you know, I didn't want my kids to ever have to have you know, separated parents, and all the traumas and stuff that I've seen some of my family go through, and myself. And yeah, I definitely didn't want to bring a child into this world. I was so stuck in the mentality of just being, you know, a party animal, a free spirit, and a nomad. And you know, I was this badass, you know, graffiti tattoo artist, rock star lifestyle. And you know, luckily I was able to you know, and now experience being a father and parenting, you know, at this age. I think it's a special thing, and it was something that has grounded me. And yeah, my emotions are all over the place with it, because I just want to, like, you know, be at the top of the mountain, just be at the top of my lungs, like, you know, how amazing this feeling is. And you know, it's been a lot of hard work and a lot of sleepless nights, and a lot of my mind battling itself. And yeah, it's going to be great to look back and you know, see how I was able to stay determined, and yeah, eventually yeah, manifest my destiny, really.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that'll pretty much wrap it up. But one thing I want to ask you before we do. Imagine you're speaking to someone 20 to 25. They want to start their own business, become a barber, filmmaker, you know, graffiti artist. What's something you can tell them that you have learned in your life that you think would be valuable to them?
Yes. I think that some of the best advice that I can give someone is to make sure that you have the right people around you, you know. Like, it's always been that quote, you know, you are who you surround yourself with, you know. And you might not be fortunate enough to have anyone around your circle, which is sad, but just find that one thing that's gonna make you feel proud of yourself when you wake up in the morning. And for that person that doesn't have anyone in their life, look in the mirror and, you know, give yourself a high five, you know, because you are your biggest fan. You are going to be the person that's going to be rooting for you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's who you should be in love with first, is your own self, before you could love anything or anyone else. And that's going to be like the main ticket for any kind of fulfillment in life, whatever it is that you want to do or pursue as a passion. I think that you should definitely also make sure that you set social media aside, internet aside, because what if one day, boom, it's all gone? You know, with the way that the world is right now.
Snapchat was the biggest thing until it wasn't.
Stuff is getting taken away from us, so you can't rely on that following, on that social media, on those posts to be your only source of advertisement for your small business in the future. Get out there, have a conversation at Starbucks, go to the grocery store, make some business cards, meet people in real life, be nice to them, mention what you do. You'll see how far that goes. You know, you're gonna meet some people that are gonna just take you pretty far. You know, if you're a filmer and you like to shoot reels and edit, you're gonna meet that guy John, who is your neighbor, who, you know, his son is an all-star football player and he needs a media guy on his team right now, and the job pays $100,000 for the year. You know what I mean? That's what I'm wishing for you, and that's like what I'm hoping for you, because it's yeah, that's what's happened to me. You know, I've just known some people, and you know, I've become friends with people, especially in the celebrity world. Celebrities, everyone is against them. Everyone wants something from them. So it's really hard for them to find people who are genuine and down to earth and real. So when I have these interactions where I'm tattooing them or creating art, that we have a bond and we become friends and we become family because they see another person, you know, real, recognized, real kind of thing. And that relationship that I built with that one person is going to take you far, because now they're going to call up their next person and be like, hey, this is the man. You know, check out my man, check out my man. Next thing you know, you're going to be in the Hollywood Hills, pulling up to so-and-so's house, and then they probably post you in your story, on their story, and the business is just going to be fly, you know. And just know that life has ups and downs. It's not always going to be perfect. You're not always going to have wins. You're going to take a lot of losses, you know, and that's just going to all build your character up. And yeah, just keep it going, you know, don't give up.
Hell yeah. Dude, thank you again.
For sure.
Hell
Thank
yeah.
you.
Dude, that was amazing. That was really good.
Thank you.
I love how you kept it going. Test.